Hey everybody, welcome to week 2. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I know that you are excited because I've been getting your messages and you're like, Mike, when are we going to get to the superhero stuff, the superpower stuff? It's right now, right here, my friend. I'm so excited that you've made it past that first week. You've put in the work. I really hope that you have, because already on page 1, we're going to be tapping into the work that you were supposed to do in week 1. So if you haven't gotten that done yet, please stop this video, go back and finish all of those worksheets that I asked you to do. I promise I'm not just making you do random exercises. It really is going to stack on top of each other. And the reason why is because most freelancing training teaches you to fit yourself into some categories, right? Be a writer, be a designer, be a this and this and this. And the problem is that is by definition fitting your life into freelancing instead of freelancing into your life. This program is all about finding what is unique about you and turning that into a business where you literally have 0 competitors. No one can hire your competition because your competition doesn't exist, because you own your marketplace, which you have created, okay? The way you do it is by finding your superpower. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Literally, as I was driving, I had to go pick up an SD card to do this video anyways, long story short, as I was driving back from where I went to go pick up that SD card, I was listening to the radio, and there was a woman on the radio who was being interviewed because she had given a TED Talk. If you know what TED Talks are, they're like, these really intellectual type of, a lot of people really like them. It costs $8,000 and you have to be pre-selected to even go watch one live, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. She was giving a TED Talk, and her business, how she made her living, and it was a very good living, like high 6, maybe even 7 figures if I could, if you can do the math. She was a diversity coach for Wall Street. So literally, people would hire her to go into their business and teach management how to deal with, operate, and experience diversity. And you know what was happening on this interview? She was talking about her life and her experience and her skills, and you could tell that she was the only one in the world who was in this tiny market that she had created as a diversity coach. Not saying she's the only diversity coach, but the way that she had pulled in her life experiences, she had built this superpower that nobody could compete with. That's why she was being hired by the top firms in Wall Street and making some of that on the way because she had done the work that you and I are about to do, okay? So I just want you to get out of the I'm a writer, I'm a programmer, I'm a videographer, I want you to step outside of that for just a second, okay? As we work through this week, just to be open. Now, I'm not saying at the end of this week you can't go back to that and say, I just want to be a writer. That's fine. I just want you to give this process a chance, because I think you'll find it's way more fulfilling, way more confidence building as you realize that no one can compete with you, okay? So like I said, let's get started right now. You have 2 activities and 1 worksheet to do. Go ahead and download the worksheet below this, because we are jumping right into the activity here. There are only 4 types of superpowers in the world of freelancing, okay? And think back, if you can remember, if you were into comic books when you were a kid, if you've ever seen any of the new superhero movies, think back onto some of these superheroes as I walk through the types of superpowers, or how people get superpowers in these stories, because I want you to know something very, very important to the next week. You are going to author your own story, full stop. Today's the day that you stop living the story that someone else has written for you, because you get to write the story of who you are as a superhero. You get to tell me what your superpower is. We're going to do self-reflection as we have in the past week, but this week you get to take all of that self-reflection and you get to decide what your superpower is. and I'm going to give you choices. We're going to go through this process and you're going to see choices. You're going to see the end goals of all those choices. What happens if I choose this superpower? What happens if I choose this superpower? That's all happening this week. I just want you to know that this is a story that you get to write. You are now writing your superhero creation story, okay? So here are some plot lines that you need to understand and have in the back of your mind. The first is those superheroes that are created through some freak accident, okay? Like the big green guy or the guy that shoots spider webs out of his hands, okay? That's how they became superheroes. In our reality, the accidental superhero is someone who had life happen to them. Do you remember when I asked you to do the skills that pay the bills exercise, I told you to list your experiences. Those experiences that you have are life. That's the accidental superhero. It's the freak accident that happened to you. And because of that freak accident, you have things you can bring to the marketplace that nobody else can because you experienced it in your way. I was homeless. The number of people who have become from homeless to not homeless through freelancing is probably actually a lot more than traditional job markets, but it's still so small and so unique that as long as I use that superpower in my business, AKA the life, I'm going to just say it, the crap that happened, those bad things that have happened to you, that's your accidental superpower. That's your freak accident that happened in the lab. Okay, so just think about this. I'm just going to walk through and think about it, and then I'll give you something to do with all this. Then there's the volunteer. This is the guy with the shield, and the captain is in his name, right? I got to be careful about what I say in these, but this is the superhero who volunteered to have something change about them in order to go out and do good. This is your desire. This is all of the skills that you want to be good at in the future. Remember I talked about good now, good in the future? This is everything that you personally desire to be or to become. If one of those things is a writer, you want to become, you want to volunteer instead, you want one of your superpowers to be writing, okay? This is, what did you inherit? Okay, this is different than life because this is, we all come from some working background, whether that's working in school as a student, whether that's working in like my wife. She has a tremendous amount of experience by being a mother, whether that's, maybe the only thing you've ever done is being a babysitter. Holy cow, like that, or whatever your career was before or up till this point are your inherited superpowers. So these are often superpowers or superheroes that come from a different planet, that their parents gave them that superpower, and that superpower is now the thing that they use. And I said it out loud, but not just career, but your background as a whole. What's something that your parents taught you that you're like, like my dad taught me how to work. Man, he taught me how to put in the slog and like get it done, right? So that's one of the superpowers that I could call on here. What about those superheroes who were created? Like the guy who has the shing coming out of his hands, right? You know what I'm talking about. Super handsome dude. Very buff. My wife likes him very much. He's cool. I like him too. So this is the created superhero. Oftentimes, these superheroes were created against their will. Survival. What skills have you developed as a human being in this crazy world to survive? These are the different superpowers. These are the different categories. You will find in the worksheet that I want you to go one by one and just list all of the superpowers that you have. If you did the skills to pay the bills, you should have most of this done already. If you did not do skills to pay the bills, please do that as you work on this. I literally just want you to list what you have developed because of the crap that has been thrown at you. This one's so powerful, you guys. Of all of these, this is probably the most powerful in being able to add value to other people. You know, I work with clients who are on the 8, 9, and one is teetering back and forth in the 10-figure range of how much they have earned, how much they are currently earning, where they want to go, what their projections are. Like, so these are big, big companies. Maybe not companies you know, but big companies. They do a lot of stuff. They value almost more than anything the fact that I have on my own started businesses of my own. Because they know I've been through some crap that I can use to help them avoid that crap. Remember, we talked about client outcomes, right? Clients don't buy services, they buy outcomes. And part of an outcome is your ability to see things and contribute experience that might not otherwise be present. Oftentimes, the thing that most clients need is just an experienced perspective, and they would get to their outcome. Oftentimes, when people are coming to freelancers, they have tried it themselves already, and they failed. So they're missing something. Often that something is perspective. Anyways, that's a side tangent on the importance of this particular superpower. I just want you to list all of these in the worksheet, because by the end of today's lesson, you're going to have a clear picture of the skills that you possess. And then we're going to talk about the rest of the week how to actually turn that into something. Every superhero has a set of expectations for themselves on how they're going to apply what force they now possess. This is what I want to walk you through right now. Now, remember the very first video that we did in week 1 where it was like kind of all sporadic and big picture and then it came together at the end? We're doing that again right now, okay? Application of force. So you're going to go make that list. You're going to have a bunch of lists of different skills that you've developed. I want you to think about how you want, so the beginning stages of, how you want to apply those skills. There's really 2 ways to think about freelancing. And I'm going to use the word consulting because that's the traditional word as I talk about some of these things. But freelancing and consulting, gig economy, U-economy, whatever the words are, I'm talking about using you as a human being to add value to other people's lives. You can call it what you want. I'm going to continue to call it freelancing. I will reference consulting here in some of what I'm talking about. But watch this. There's 2 axes on which we exist as freelancers. Either we are teaching them, our clients, how to get the outcome that they desire, or we are doing it for them. We are actually doing the parts that they need to do in order to have the outcome that they desire. The doing it for them is significantly more profitable, meaning you get paid a lot more to do that than you do to teach them. Your contract lengths are typically much longer, meaning if you are able to do it for them, they will probably want you to do it again and again for them. Not always, but typically. However, when you are teaching them, the results you leave for the client are typically longer term. You don't get the longer contract, but you do get the longer term sort of, I helped to build this organization. They're using the methods that I taught them how to do, etc., etc. This is done for you, right? So you just do it. You can hire a team to do it if you'd like. And there's been several people in this program saying, can I outsource this? Yes, I'm going to show you in one of these videos in this week how maybe your superpower is actually guiding people, gathering people, putting people together for a bigger solution to a problem. You would still fall in the done for you. I do not recommend putting a team together to teach. That way lies madness. Some of the different things that you could sell, this is just to get your brain flowing, your brain going. No work upsells are a DFY, a done for them, but again, you're not doing the work, but it does fall on this axis. A workshop is something that you could provide to clients where you're teaching them right? So I just want you to get some ideas about how do you take these different superpowers that you have, like test it in your mind. How would it feel? Like, what if you gave a workshop about like something you learned when life was really crappy? How does that feel to you? Is that align with your desires? Does that align with what you want to do to help others? Retainers are pretty common in DFY. Consulting calls are pretty common in teaching them. This is where you're getting into package knowledge over here. You need a framework, so you need to develop a framework. You can't just go in and be like, I'm going to teach you something. You have to develop a framework, put in the work to develop that. How does that feel? How does it feel to think, you know what? I'm going to take my knowledge and my skill and like all of this big old list that I'm working on with the 4 different superpowers, and what if I taught someone something? Like, what if I put together a system and taught it in a workshop? Would that be something I'd be interested in? Maybe. Doing it for them requires skill, both as yourself and for the people that you may bring onto your team. So that it would include a quality assurance of that skill if you are thinking about bringing on team members. So this is just a little snippet of some of the things that you could do to help those people, aka your clients, achieve their outcomes. Okay, so really quick review before we jump into the very last. Like I said, this is going to be short, quick, fast, because you got a lot of work to do. List out all of these as they are. Accident, aka life, volunteer, desire, inherit, career, created, survival. If you forget what those are, rewind to the beginning of this video. List all of those out. As you're listing those out, think about, feel, experiment in your mind what you kind of want to lean on. Maybe you want to do 70% teaching, 30% doing it for them. Maybe you just want to do stuff for people. Maybe you want to have teaching. Think this through as you're working this out. You don't have to make decisions yet. We're not at decision point. This is day 1 of week 2. Lots of big ideas. This right here looks so boring, and I really tried to make it as sexy as I possibly could, but nothing worked better than just keeping it simple. Here's the deal, guys. Everything you've done up to this point in this course comes down to this particular slide. And I'm being dead serious when I say the rest of your week depends on your willingness to put in the work on this particular task, okay? In the worksheet below. Again, download the worksheet below. Here's what I want you to do. Of all the skills that you've thought of, that you just categorize in the 4 different superhero sections of what people have told you, from the skills to pay the bills, of all of that, what I want you to do is literally line by line. You're going to hate me for this, but if you do this, I promise everything else in this course will be easier. Line by line, if someone says, you're really good at taking pictures, tell me what you do to take pictures. And then I want you to tell me how that benefits someone. So, how do we tie it back into all of this up here? Especially the one about survival skills, especially the one about desires, especially the one about life. How do we tie that back in? Well, let me give you an example. I have been betrayed in business an unbelievable number of times. Like an unbelievable number of times. One of my skills now is to see through bull crap. That it's just a skill that I have developed. Maybe it's life, maybe it's survival. I could probably put it in both of those categories. So what am I putting here in the task? Comprehensive vetting process for potential new hires or potential partners or whatever that might be. How does this benefit my client? My client is protected by me. I will not let anyone screw my clients over. Many of my clients come to me and say, Mike, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this person? That's how I help people. You do that for every single item that's on your skills to pay the bills, that's on this list that you're making here, that's on any other list you've made in the past week, and I guarantee you that by the end of this result, you are going to realize that you could today probably start 10 or 15 different businesses. I want you to feel that. You're like, but Mike, that's confusing and overwhelming. It will be for a night. Come back tomorrow and we're going to focus on turning that into clarity. But just for one night, I want you to realize that you have an unbelievable number of things that you can do for other people that is incredibly valuable. Because tomorrow we are going to go down this list and we're going to pick some of these, and I won't give it away because I don't want it to alter how you do this, but we're going to take some of these, mush them together, and create something bigger than you could have ever imagined when you first started this course, okay? And again, it's gonna go back to the fact that only you can do it, you and only you can do this thing, okay? So remember the 4 different superhero categories, superpower categories. Think about how you want to deliver that. Don't make any commitments at this point, just kind of think. Do you wanna teach? Do you wanna do? Do you wanna do a little bit of both? And then say what it is you would do. So all the list of tasks that you've identified as skills, what is it that you do to kind of deliver that skill, to execute on that skill? And then how does that benefit someone? Okay? Whew. This is going to be big. It's going to be work. It's going to feel hard right now, but remember the dragon. It's going to feel like this. We need to bring it down. There's a couple ways you can do that to bring it from this massive dragon that's too scary all the way down really small. Get in that group. I will be in there to answer any questions that you have, to help you overcome, to uncomplicate, to simplify, to get clarity. We are all there. Your whole entire Success Coach team is. That is it for lesson 1, day 1 of week 2. I hope you're super jazzed and super excited to get into this work because we are going to be moving fast this week. We're actually going to merge the end of this week into the next week. You're not even going to know what's happening. It's going to go so fast and so incredibly awesome and cool. If anything is overwhelming, seriously, reach out to us. If you don't want to reach out in the public forum, please email us personally at help@thenopantsproject.com, help@thenopantsproject.com. I love you guys so much. Let's get ready for an awesome week, and I'll see you tomorrow.